What's going on, Detroit Lions fans? Before I get into this, I know you guys see the thumbnail. I know you see the title of the episode. All I ask is that you have an open mind. You let me make a sales pitch to you. I ask that you wait until the end of the show until you leave a comment. The other day, I posted a video that was 15 minutes long, and someone was commenting 2 minutes into the video, calling me an idiot for and going on a tirade about stuff that I covered later in the episode that he was already saying. So that's all I ask. I know you see this. I know you see the thumbnail, the title, everything. Sit back, pour a drink, hide from your boss, put the AirPods in, turn me up on the radio. Just let me hear my spiel, okay? I know that the New York Jets said that there is no way in hell they're going to trade Hassan Reddick. I know. I've done a lot of research, guys. I don't come on here and I don't just start spewing shit without doing some research and some facts. I know what the Jets said. They said that they're not going to trade Hassan Reddick. Everyone has a price, though, right? If you're a general manager, you have to do your due diligence. If someone calls you about a player, you have to listen. I understand we're talking about a pass rusher, and I got a lot of things I got to cover in this episode. Don't know how long it'll be, but we are talking about the Detroit Lions trading for Hassan Reddick. Now, there's a lot of things that the Detroit Lions do that I don't find interesting, that I don't talk about. I didn't find the Matthew Betts signing very interesting. I wasn't overly excited about Jake Bates. I like Jake Bates. I think he's a solid kicker if he could show some consistency, but I say that meaning we're talking about guys who are probably long shots to make the team in Matthew Betts and guys who don't have as big of an impact like Jake Bates. We only talk about kickers if they miss a game-winning field goal. I'm talking about Hassan Reddick. I'm talking about a guy who can transform your defense, who can make you go from really, really good, which where we are right now, I think on paper, we are a really, really good defense. Hassan Reddick takes you to that next level. Who do you trust rushing the passer? I'm talking rushing the passer, not taking on two blocks, not creating pressure. I'm talking about guys who show up and get sacks. We have Aiden Hutchinson, and that's probably the end of the list. If you added a Hassan Reddick, you're getting a game changer. Not a kicker that you only see every now and then. Not a Matthew Betts that you don't even know if he's going to make the team. Not a Quintez Stiggers that a lot of you people wanted to sign in the preseason or offseason after the draft. We're talking about a guy that is dependable, hasn't missed a game in his NFL career, and has double-digit sacks the last 4 years in Hassan Reddick. And I know we've talked about him before, but your boy's done some more homework. I got some numbers. I got some salary cap. I got some trade scenarios. We're going to go through it. And at the end, I'm going to give a final decision trying to think like Brad Holmes as best I can. So, as you guys all know, set the table. Hassan Reddick has requested a trade. The Jets said that they're not going to do it at all. They're not going to even entertain the idea. But like I said, if you're a general manager of a football team and someone calls you, it's your job to listen. Hassan Reddick has come out and said that he wants fair market value based on his performance. Well, if you look at the contracts of players like TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, some of the best pass rushers in the NFL, they are making $6 million more than what Hassan Reddick is making. Hassan right now is at about $14.25 million due in 2024. Now, I'm going to show you something real quick. Let me do a little screen share here. Bear with me. Tell your boss you're doing some very important stuff here. You're watching some Detroit Den and going over some Lions stuff. You're not focused on work. You're focused on football. Here it is. A picture of the Detroit Lions salary cap. As you can see, for 2024, this remaining year, we have $42 million in salary cap space. Now, next year, that number drops. It drops to 25. We got some big contracts, Goff's extension, St. Brown, Sewell, all those guys who got extension. That's why that number is going down. It's at 25 as it sits right here today. But I expect that when the NFL salary cap gets readjusted, I expect if it's anything around 28, I think that would be a fair jump just with the NFL increasing its salary cap based on ad revenue, TV deals, all that kind of stuff that goes into effect. The NFL showing more games in more places. That means the players get to have a little bit more money too. So 25 million, 46, and then we got obviously a lot of huge contracts falling off in 2027, but we're not really worried about that, okay? I've showed you. Hassan Reddick's wanting around 20 million. That's going to be about his market value. We have 42. Now, if you're good at budgeting, if you're in charge of your finances at your house, you know you don't spend all your money in one location. That's just kind of rule number one. All right. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. But if you have 42 and you spend 20, you're only spending about 50% of your savings, right? Big investment. Do you want to win a Super Bowl? What's it going to cost? It's going to cost you about 20 million over the next 3 years. It costs you about 60 million guaranteed, I would say, to land someone like Hassan Reddick at age 30 by the time the season starts. Not old, not young, kind of in let's say maybe the starting end phase of his prime. But I still think there's a lot of damn good football to be played left. Now, let's get into what it would cost for this trade to happen. Again, the Jets said they're not going to trade him. But if you're listening, if the Jets wanted to at least break even on this trade, it's going to cost a conditional 3rd round pick. That's what the Jets gave up to the Eagles to acquire Hassan Reddick. They were hoping to get a deal done. Hasn't happened. Hassan wants out of town. We'd at least have to give up a conditional 3rd round pick, which means conditional is just kind of, it is exactly what it sounds like. We put some conditions on, hey, we'll give you a 3rd round pick if Hassan Reddick plays 14 games, if he signs an extension. There's a lot of different things you can throw into a contract terminology or this trade to kind of protect yourself, kind of like the Jets did when they gave up a 3rd. It's conditional. It's exactly how it sounds. There's no fancy meaning or anything about it. That just is what it is. Are you willing to give up a 3rd round pick for a guy who can transform your defense, a guy who can take you to the Super Bowl, a guy who, you look at this Detroit Lions defensive line, who's been the talk of town from PFF to ESPN, all the rankings, calling it one of the best defensive lines. When DJ Reader's healthy, Ali McNeil's getting full pressures, Davenport healthy, Aiden Hutchinson a monster. You throw in Hassan Reddick at that other Sam linebacker position or defensive end, you can blitz him from wherever. Who's stopping you? Oh, we haven't even talked about our secondary. Brian Branch, full-time safety now, Ife Melifonwu, Kirby Joseph, Carlton Davis, Terrion Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, Meek Robertson. Like, who am I missing? Like, the list goes on. Our defense is completely revamped. Giving up a 3rd round pick to get a guy that takes your defense to Super Bowl status. We're already at Super Bowl status, guys. We're already there. We're already being talked about. We're being mentioned. Detroit Lions, one of the top 2 teams in the NFC, 49ers, Lions. It's been the debate all offseason. Why not just settle the score? Why not just put an end to the debate and say the Detroit Lions are the top dogs now? But with a 3rd round pick, look at who we've drafted in the past year, a couple years with 3rd round picks. Broderick Martin, project player. Hendon Hooker, project player. Why not give up a 3rd round pick for a guy who can go get to a Pro Bowl, who can play 17, 18, 19, 20 games if needed in a season, get 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 sacks? Like, what are we talking about here? It's a no-brainer for me. It is a no-brainer to give up a 3rd round pick for a guy who elevates your defense to that level. And to be honest, if I have to give up a 2nd round pick for that, why not? If I have to up the Jets offer of a conditional 3rd and I have to say a 2nd round pick, would you do it? I'll walk that pick to New York myself, barefooted on hot gravel. Like, that's how far I'm willing to go to get a player like Hassan Reddick, who catapults your defense into another category. You're not even talking about good. You're talking about scary. You're talking about teams. How do you game plan for Aiden Hutchinson? How am I going to double team DJ Reader? How am I going to double team Ali McNeil? How am I going to block Marcus Davenport if he's healthy? I got to block all those base guys. Now I start sending linebackers, Ife Melifonwu on a safety blitz. The list goes on. You give Aaron Glenn some ammunition, he's going to fire all those rounds. He's going to make this team very, very hard to game plan for. I really like what the Detroit Lions defense is doing. If this trade doesn't happen, you won't hear me crying about it. I don't think it's going to happen. But if you just think about it from a what would you give up standpoint, a 2nd round pick, a conditional 3rd, that's a no-brainer for me. I send that over there 10 times out of 10 for a guy who can get double-digit sacks. Good luck blocking Hutch. Hey, you're going to double team Hutch? Reddick's coming from the other side. There's just no way to game plan for it. There's just not. There's just a quarterback would be pissing his bed in a hotel room coming to Detroit to face that type of defense. Now, final question. Is this a Brad Holmes move that he would make? That's why Brad Holmes is the GM of the Detroit Lions and I'm not, because I don't think it is a move that Brad's going to make. I don't think that it's a call he's going to even start to dial. I don't think he's even going to look up the New York Jets area code. I don't. And I understand. This guy's requested a trade from 2 teams in 1 season. Like, the season hasn't even started yet. He's requested a trade from the Philadelphia Eagles. He got it. Got traded to the Jets. Now he's requesting another trade. Doesn't sound like a Brad Holmes guy. I get it. I understand. I'd still at least entertain the idea if Steve Perkins were the GM of the Detroit Lions. And a lot of you are probably thinking, thank God he's not. But I think maybe I was a little realistic in what I'd be willing to give up. And if you're not, hey, that's fine. We can have a difference of opinion. Leave some comments down below. Hit that like button. Stick around. Let's have a conversation about this. And I appreciate you guys if you stuck out and waited for me to give my speech to leave your comment. We can talk about it civilly. Leave some comments down below, guys. I'll be back later with another show.